think there would ever be any third deck that would rise out of the meta. I thought Dragoncraft and Shadowcraft were going to be pretty solidly what people were going to carry this whole expansion.
There were a few decks that were poking their heads out, but Swordcraft undeniably in the West has taken that third spot in the trifecta of the three ultimate decks, the three ultimate archetypes that we see.
Consistently, Swordcraft has made it far into the NGE Shadowverse Open, and let's see if that continues to be the case here for Shadowverse Open number 6. Here we go. Underwear versus JaZe.
The winner of this will advance to the finals of the Week 6. We'll see what the curves like are going to be for these players. Going to be an absolute determining factor in the way this game's going to go. There's 2 Catacombs in the hand of Underwear, and a Grimnir and a Lyrial Archer in the hands of JaZe.
Underwear and JaZe. Oh, I think we pre-ran away from.
Yeah.
We were.
Got a little bit ahead of ourselves there. We were just, oh man, wanted to get into that game.
We're good. We're okay.
We're okay. We're back.
We're okay. Oh man, that's great. I love it. I love it. Shadowcraft Mirror. Oh, he's got the animated Hector.
He's got the animated Hector, and neither player has a 1-drop. So a bit of an even play there. It would have been real nasty to see someone with a 1-drop and someone else without a 1-drop.
What?
All 3 Catacombs, man.
So what happens when a bunch of Catacombs sit down next to each other for lunch?
They have lunch.
They generate their own friends? They're probably just role-playing. That's what they're making up characters like, oh, yeah, this is my character that, you know? And they create like a whole story and, you know, go through the experience together. That's what happens when 3 Catacombs sit next to each other.
That's the key. It's all about friendship at the end of the day. I'm going to stop talking now.
Not good. Not good.
Abort.
Lyrial gonna snipe it out, take down the skeleton as well. JaZe in a very good spot, going second as well, utilizing that evolution point advantage. Did Zombie Party on turn 3 or turn 2 into 3 to kind of prevent that Catacomb from getting the extra card with the last word effect?
Ooh, oh! Takes out the. Have we seen an unlucky Orthrus drop this whole tournament? I think they've all been choice.
They've been pristine. Even trade here. And it just seems like JaZe is one step ahead in terms of card dropping, but Underwear is still a step ahead in terms of play point advantage. So he's going to, for example, reach Hector first, right? He hasn't hit a big Catacomb yet, so hasn't hit quite the shadows that he would need. 5 is not bad. It's not terrible. But you would like to have more.
And the thing about Cerberus, he didn't play it on his 5th turn, but on turn 6, on turn 7, Cerberus is still a viable card. You can still play Coco and Mimi on the turn, because on turn 5, all you can really do is evolve Cerberus and go for face, or go for 5 damage against another follower. And just keep Coco and Mimi in your hand. You're loading your gun, so to speak. Just getting Coco and Mimi in your hand. But on turn 6, it's still a viable drop.
The fact that Cerberus has 3 health makes it a little more awkward.
It does.
The resource expenditure from Underwear is kind of tough. Do you spend that last Evolve Orb, especially when JaZe has not committed himself? Looks like it might be the choice here. Evolve Cerberus and kind of
he might evolve
leave
the beast,
your own at 2. Okay, he did evolve the Skull Beast. So this is even more interesting now because you leave the Skull Beast at 1 health as opposed to the Cerberus at 2. And like you mentioned, JaZe, guns loaded. He's ready to pop.
He's going to try to fill up his board as much as he can. He's going to be able to get a Shadow Reaper on his side of the field as well.
Lyrial has been doing so well for JaZe.
Lyrial has been great. This is, of course, his 3rd one, and the Orthrus took out the other 2 all by itself.
All by its lonesome.
Deciding whether or not he wants to get Grimnir or the Reaper on his side of the field.
So 8 shadows, Hector on the table for Underwear, Hector on the table for JaZe as well. I imagine that both these cases, board control is not really going to be existing for either of the Hectors. I mean, maybe if the Shadow Reaper gets dropped, right?
the Reaper gets dropped, Underwear is going to have a real hard time clearing off the Reaper. Of course, it's got ambush, and then Ector is going to be able to buff up the Reaper as well, ensuring a certain amount of face damage. I love this play from JaZe.
Oh boy.
No.
Either way, it's good.
Mm-hmm.
And you could even guarantee that you wipe out both by taking out. I mean, you can take out both either way. Right?
Finally a break. Orthrus has arrived.
Didn't have enough play points to play another follower for the Orthrus to buff.
Would have been nice to see that Catacomb coming out right after Orthrus. It lasts 1 play point short. But ensuring that JaZe cannot go for face damage this turn is crucial. Because of that, he could just play the Thane this turn. There's only a 1/2 follower. He could evolve one of the whites and trade into the Orthrus with that.
Mm-hmm. It's a very interesting situation because JaZe and Underwear are in this draw where they both kind of canceled out each other's options really well. They had the ideal answers each time, and so they're really kind of spending a lot of cards and not getting a lot of face damage in there at the same moment.
Not getting any face damage.
And I think that's really important here because it means that as they run out of options in hand, they're going to need to rely on smart resource expenditure to push them through. This Thane seems like a very strong drop, but again, that opens up the path to perhaps Underwear to play the Ector and gain value off of the drop. Again, Ector without board control is okay, but you would really like to be able to get that 2 damage buff and swing face, right?
He's going to go for the Ector. He could effectively clear the whole board here with the Coco. The zombies can for sure take out those whites, and the Thane with a buffed up zombie is going to be able to take out the White King, or excuse me, the Thane. It will be putting the White King in the hands of JaZe. JaZe has more than enough shadows to really reap the benefit from that card.
So here it comes. It's time for the perhaps the Ector in response. Is there a better option here?
Does have the 0 cost
I
White
mean,
King.
you're in a situation where you can play the Ector and the King.
Yeah.
This head can't be taken.
And that added level might actually put JaZe ahead. We talked a little bit about White King and how we hadn't seen it, or Thane rather, and how we hadn't seen it today yet, but JaZe's going to throw down the card, and I think he's getting a lot of value off of it.
Absolutely. Having Bane is so crucial. Of course, having Bane against a Phantom Howl, like we see in the hand of Underwear, it's a bit of a useless ability. Bane is of course the ghosts only have one defense anyway. They're gonna die, and even if they don't attack, they're gonna die anyway. So definitely Phantom Howl is a perfect card to be able to get rid of that White King.
May death be majestic.
Oh, interesting. He exhausted all of his shadows, and he didn't get the enhanced ability from the White King.
What are you hiding inside?
That is going to be a lot of skeletons. And
But
a
this
lot
is-
of shadows going to be able to build up as well.
Yeah. I think the big thing, too, Grimnerd's about to come into play on turn 10.
Yep.
And that's going to be really strong for JaZe, right?
Absolutely. If he can get rid of these last words abilities and just have a bunch of skeletons on Underwear's side of the field, then Grimnir is really going to be able to clean up and earn JaZe a massive advantage.
And, I mean, in many ways, Underwear doesn't have... Oh, throws away one skeleton. You know that JaZe doesn't, or rather Underwear doesn't have any Kokoro Mimi. You know, he only has 1 damage here at 20 health. There's no evolution orbs. How much can he really pump up? And you still have Grimnir to hit for 4 if you swing face. He's already committed to kind of clearing the board here.
Right.
But I wonder if face was the place, so to speak.
See what this draw is here for Underwear. This is going to be the draw that absolutely decides whether or not Underwear can stay in this fight. I think it's risky. It's a bit of a slim chance, I'd say. JaZe has an unbelievably more powerful board. He's going to get the Death's Breath. That's great. Absolutely going to need that. But with Grimnir on turn 10, it's not really going to help him.
He needs to stay above 4, or he needs to wipe the board. right? It's one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
I think right now it's very important. I mean, I actually don't know. This is a very tough situation right now for Underwear.
Yeah, I don't think Underwear is going to be able to do it. He could trade into the zombies, trade into the Skull Beast, but even then, I mean, it's just not enough damage. JaZe was able to answer what Underwear threw at him in such great fashion.
He's going to be able to... Okay, so that means that there's going to be 4 damage left on the board, and I think he might just barely survive unless JaZe gets additional damage in hand.
Mm-hmm. That's going to come in absolutely crucial next turn if he wants to Grimnir this turn, clearing the board.
Mm-hmm.
And
Swing
knowing that
for-
Underwear is on his last card.
Yeah, this is a really tough spot. And losing board control here is I mean, we talked about the differences between Shadow and something like Forest, where you're really, it's kind of like a gradual thing where you get board control, you maintain board control, and then you swing for the kill, right?
Right.
2 turns at most. Unless your opponent is already low, there's not really an insta-kill.
Oh, he drew a Grimnir of his own.
Okay. That's a pretty...
But
that's
it's
going to
leave... It's going to leave him with 2 skeletons from the Chimera, and then Ector is going to be able to trade the zombie into the Ector, and then getting another 2 damage for face. Or excuse me, the skeletons are going to get buffed up, and that's going to end the game.
Right. There it is. We talked about how it was just, you got to set up the turn, and then swing for the kill, and try to maintain that board control. And in the end, the last word effect there on the last 2 units came in big for JaZe. Really a game of momentum, right? I think the extra addition of Thane helps so much. Getting the 0-drop follower and then being able to play that alongside Ector really helped a lot. And just the fact that he had the extra card meant he had the extra reach in terms of board control, meant he had the extra damage to throw to face, meant that the tempo of the game was always favoring JaZe. So I really like how that ended up playing out. I think the Thane was a great addition to his particular deck.
Definitely for a 7-drop, being able to get 3 followers on the board with a 7-drop, and also that free 0-cost card as well.
Come on.
So it's going to be Shadowcraft again for Underwear, and it's going to have to match up against JaZe's Swordcraft deck. The early game is not too bad for JaZe.
But Underwear is going first. He doesn't have a 1-drop, but he's got a few 2-drops in Orthrus as well, and there's not a really solid 1-drop for JaZe either. Underwear could be able to take this away if he's able to run away with his advantage.
Soul Squasher is going to be committed, and I think that's the best choice. You have 2 copies of it. Meanwhile, you can still get some value off Conjure and Luriel.
Right.
So you may as well hold it. Their stat line is all the same.
Just drew into Zombie Party. He could
The
clear
one
the board.
time, it feels like consistently in the series we've seen turn 3 Catacombs being denied. In this situation, that was a possibility, but Underwear didn't have the Catacomb in hand.
Right.
We'll see if the front guard general comes in big in this particular matchup. I can imagine that it would be very useful if JaZe can make it to turn 7 and has it in hand.
Great choice there, being able to trade into the Conjurer there, making Orthrus not a great play. If the Trooper went for face, then Orthrus would have been able to do even more damage in return. Another 4 damage. And clearing out the Trooper as well. But Underwear is able to answer by getting the Reaper and the Literal Archer on the field.
Weapon at the ready, youngling.
And Jino gains such great value of being able to trade into a 2-follower,
Finally a break.
forcing your opponent to trade in again and get off another follower.
So Orthrus will allow that Shadow Reaper to buff up here. And swing for a relatively decent amount.
Right.
Orthrus has arrived.
Others will follow.
And there's still a lot of Storm on the side of JaZe. And he's got that double Veteran Lancer, which actually, despite the fact that Veteran Lancer only has 2 defense there, is really important just for the fact that you have to commit a card to swing at it.
Right.
You're done
We see it again where Swordcraft gets a turn 5. You want to play that Albert. You want to be able to evolve, get that damage already on the board in that 5/7 follower. But there is a full board for the Shadowcraft player, forced to play more control.
this is a great turn. This is a great turn 6 for JaZe in many ways because he can play Lancer and Geno, both gaining some control, having 2 different sources possibly, one from Geno and one from the Evolve Orb to swing for control and still maintain ward. So I think it's a pretty okay turn here.
Weapon at the ready, youngling.
Hey, why so angry?
Gonna find another situation where possibly this Orthrus would have. Oh, that's, you know, I don't think the options are necessarily fantastic for Underwear.
Right.
The enhanced zombie party is gonna be great, but there's still one more veteran Lancer, whole souled swing, and Grimner as well. There's lots of ward options, and we're getting into that point in time where he could have played Fangblade Slayer, or rather Front Guard General already, and he has Fangblade Slayer on the way.
Right. Next turn, the Fangblade Slayer, and he just drew into the Grimnir. And in the later stage of the game, I love that because he's going to be able to save that for the turn 10 massive damage across the board if Underwear uses his zombie party and gets a full flood of zombies.
I think JaZe is considering right now, does he want to put his ward up now, or does he want to go for Albert now?
I'll save you all.
He could still Albert to get rid of the zombie. Yep.
Yeah, and I think that's a smart choice. It's tough, especially when no Cerberus has been played to swing lethal here. And so take the opportunity to drop the Albert, and then you can do Veteran Lancer at a later time.
Right. Those 2 zombie parties getting a great effect by summoning 6 zombies in between them all. That's a lot of followers that JaZe is going to have to chew through. He does have the Fangblade Slayer.
Oh, and 2 Grimners. I think Fangblade Slayer, the big thing here is, especially if Underwear doesn't draw into a big option here, the next 2 turns are going to be really tough, especially with double Grimners on the way.
Right. Any board that Underwear throws out
1,
could
2, 3,
be
4,
completely
5.
mowed down by the Grimnirs, unless there's a
7.
Catacomb, for example.
9. He's got 12 damage. Or sorry, no, he's got 11 damage. It's getting real close. There still is multiple wards available here. Now the question is, do you play both the Veteran Lancer and Grimner on the next turn as your wards, or do you save the Grimner and just play the Veteran Lancer and hope that gets you by?
Right. The Lancer would mitigate 1 attack, but he's going to go for full face damage, knowing that next turn he could possibly have lethal.
That might have been a big giveaway
Giving
as
ward
well.
to all your zombies, getting massive effect from that Death's Breath.
He's going to be able to ping out the 1, and Fangblade is going to be able to clear another.
Grimnirs just came, I think, 1 turn too late.
I think he might just barely survive here if he throws down the Veteran Lancer, because he's going to be able to do 2, 6. No, he's actually going to, he needs to put down at least 2 wards.
I am the Mad Cyclone.
Oh, but if it's Grimner, right.
Right, he could use one of the Grimnirs, getting those 2 wards.
He's still going to do 2 wards just to be safe. And
Saving himself,
I agree.
Yep.
I agree with that situation. Your Fangblade Slayer is going to give you ticking damage. Just play safe.
But
oh my god, that Orthrus.
Oh no. A lucky Orthrus. If it hits the Lancer. But if it hits the Lancer, then that's 1 spot on your field that you're not getting a ghost. But
I don't know if
that's a
necessarily
buffed up zombie, yeah. And you still have an evolve point as well.
It definitely needs to hit the Lancer for maximum efficiency.
He's going to try it. No way!
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
He's going to evolve, be able to take down the Grimner.
Yeah.
Do 6, play the Phantom
If
Howl.
that hit any other follower, he wouldn't have been able to end the game right here.
The Orthrus before the tournament today went to the interwebs and searched the,
Took some targeting lessons is what Orthrus did.
MLGProSkills.exe, downloaded it, installed it.
Yeah, if someone didn't know how Orthrus works and they're
targeted.
tuning in, yeah, it looks like Orthrus has a targeted ability when it's a random follower.
Oh my god. The one thing it had to hit. I'm trying to think of if there's any other way. I mean, I think you could have done it if you just evolved Orthrus anyways. If you hit Grimnir.
He did have... Grimnir
could
would have been 1
swing.
health, and he had 1 spare ghost.
Mhm.
So I think even if it hit Grimnir, he still
Yeah.
would have been able to win.
But basically 50-50 on that situation. It had to hit one of the wards.
Yeah.
If it didn't hit either of the wards, it
So 50-50, not bad.
yeah.
Not bad. Nothing to shake your fist at.
Still,
Still.
over the course of this entire tournament, we know that stats aren't affected by previous encounters, right? But still, so many times. Orthrus so many times today has gotten the optimal clear.
And now both players going over to their secondary decks. Underwear, Dragoncraft, JaZe, Swordcraft.
I tied up now. Swordcraft has to make it happen against Dragon, and Dragon has no ramp in sight.
Yeah, no ramp in sight. It does have clear from the Breath of the Salamander, but Ouroboros and Bahamut, not the cards you really want to draw at this stage in the game.
So I think
All-Souled Swing would get great value. So would the Lancer as well, but
it all depends on how you want. I kind of agree with this because
he didn't have any commanders in hand. He didn't have Albert or the Mage.
and then you have a solid kind of curve following your next few turns here.
Right.
And this is all kind of a race, I think, for JaZe. He just needs to make sure he puts down enough damage before that Ouroboros Bahamut Israfil starts kicking in.
Right. Even then, Underwear has been able to mitigate a lot of the pressure coming out.
Interesting. He spends a Breath of the Salamander real early on.
And now Jinno doesn't really have a target, and there's not a Floral Fencer in hand, so an evolve point here. A bit of a tough choice. Even if he did have Floral Fencer, there's no target to attack and no target to use the rush from Jinno on.
Sybil down is going to ramp one. And I think JaZe has already lost a lot of early aggression opportunity.
Yeah. Still, though, Underwear is going to be on turn 7 next turn. And it's not going to be in a place where he can play Ouroboros. He's going to have to hope for a good draw to go along with an Alia.
Decides not to evolve. I think this is a interesting situation. If you put down Luminous Mage,
right,
the Jinno, you would like for it to swing face, but there's not going to be a good way to remove Sybil at 5 health.
And he's got the Albert as well. Could go for face for 9 damage, trade it into Sybil. There's options here for JaZe.
If you don't remove the Sybil, though, it'll continually start giving healing as next turn is already overflow. I think he's weighing his options very carefully. I actually kind of like Albert here because, again, you have Alwiaz, which is a 2-function card to extend aggression as well as provide defensive capability for yourself.
Yeah, high value card, that one. He's able to hang on to the Luminous Mage for later turns as well.
As long as we've got each other.
Technically, you would mitigate more damage by killing the Jinno here,
So this
but gonna go for the Albert.
Right, because Albert was already evolved. Yeah.
Still, a lot of storm damage coming down the line here.
Yeah.
He's on 8 play points, so Israfil, Ouroboros, basically everything but Bahamut is activated already. And once that Bahamut comes in, there's just so much removal that Underwear has.
Right.
I think JaZe
JaZe's
kind of
gonna have
can't
to hope
rely
he
on some
draws
of these options anymore.
He's going to have to hope he draws a Tsubaki in that instance.
Or starts getting something like Bane. He's got so many early game options here. Novice Trooper, Veteran Lancer, Whole-Souled Swing, you know?
Yeah, the full board from Floor Fencer not going to help at all against Bahamut. He's going to have to try to get as much face damage here as he can, trying to close out the game. But even then, there's plenty of healing in the hand of Underwear with Israfil and Ouroboros as well.
Another question is, where do you spend that evolution orb right now?
Right. You could hope
If
for
you
a Zell.
put it on the pirate, you're going to protect yourself from Israfil in many ways.
It won't
And he
be long
does.
now.
Or sorry, the Viking.
We live to take what we like.
And I think that's a smart option. Ouroboros can still snipe out the ward and then evolve and take down another.
But if he did that, then the evolved Novice Trooper and the attack from the Jenna would be 8 damage. That would be lethal.
Oh, this is such an interesting situation because if he actually puts down Israfil, he's going to heal for 4, but he can only... He's going to go for Ouroboros.
Oh, no. This could be game.
I think that might
I think
be
it
it.
is, yeah.
It won't be
Oh,
long now.
no. Oh, my gosh. JaZe.
Right when he got into that area, I mean, I don't even know if he played Israfil, he would have healed 4, so that would have put him up to 11.
Right.
And then Israfil would have had to evolve and can only take down 1, so
only
I
took
think
down
he
the
would
ward,
still
so he still would have...
he still would have died. That was it, really. JaZe, just right when he got into that area, that Albert evolve was such an important decision there.
Yeah, very
And the
crucial.
evolve on the Viking as well was very smart. His exact expenditure of resources there for JaZe. Really good read of the situation, and I think he definitely made the right choice. Very unfortunate for Dragoncraft that he didn't have any of his pump options early on. Had to play on curve, basically, on normal turns. And it really hurts when you have Dragoncraft in that area. Still incredibly close. I mean, we were just on the verge.